Hey everyone, hope you are doing well. You are ready for preparation of AIMS MSc entrance this year. You have only around 50 days to prepare for whole physiology course. You must be thinking which book I should refer, right? You must be thinking which concepts I should give more weightage, right? And in scarcity of, all the sample papers are not available, even the 10-year is not available. You don't have any guidance. Okay, aimlessly you have to now prepare. Fine, so don't worry, I have to give you some most frequently repeated questions of different system one by one to make you just an idea how you should go about your preparation. And I'll be sharing with you some preparation tips and some frequently done mistake by students, because when we talk about the negative marking, this is very important that you should not attempt even one question you don't know or you are doubtful. So the small things are very important if you want to secure all India first, second or third rank. Because for general category, you have only three options, available if you want to do MSc Physiology from AIMS Delhi. Fine. So in this video, I have made to give you some gist of, nervous system questions, which I got frequently repeated in 3-year entrance exam, right? So let's get started. Okay, so let's start with question number 1. The question is, no matter where a sensory pathway is stimulated along its course to cortex, the sensation produced is referred to the receptor location. Okay, so what it is saying? It is saying that along a sensory pathway from a sensory receptor till cortex, okay, wherever you stimulate it, the sensation felt will be sensed at the stimulation to the receptor. Okay, what is this called? And the options are law of projection, Weber-Fechner law, Mueller's law of specific energy, Bell-Megendy law. Okay, and the answer is law of projection. So the law of projection says that when a pathway is stimulated and the sensation felt at cortex. So for example, I'm touching my finger, right? And the sensation is felt at a area of cortex and showing that this sensation is related to a small finger, right? And if, for example, my amputation occurred, if this finger is amputated, then along that pathway, the same sensation is felt. If along the pathway, anywhere you stimulate, it will be felt at the cortex level that this finger is touched, even after amputation of that. The same is, that's why I'm giving you example of phantom limb, because in some, entrance exam, it can be asked that phantom limb is basically explaining which phenomena. So the answer is law of projection, right? Okay, question number 2. Muller's doctrine of specific nerve energies, also known as. So it's based on which principle, what it is talking about. And the options are law of projection, Webb-Fechner law, labor line principle, and Bell-Megendy law. All 3 times I got this caution that about any 4 of these principles, you always have one caution. You should know that what is Muller's doctrine of specific nerve energy. So the answer is labor line principle. So now you should know that what is law of projection. So wherever along the pathway, whenever you will touch, the sensation will be felt at cortex that this finger is being touched. That is law of projection, right? Now, what is labor line principle? Labor line principle, people, most common being confused between these two terms. What is law of projection and what is labor line principle? Because they both are talking about one pathway. Now, what is labor line principle is? Labor line principle says that if you touch a pathway, okay, so whole pathway, the sensation felt will be touch only. Okay, so it's talking about the modality of sensation. Here we'll be talking about touch. So if pain stimulus is given, that along that pathway the sensation will be pain. So touch will lead to that, all the pathway will be involved, so the sensation will be touch only. So that is labor line principle. Now, to perform best, you should be knowing these rest two term also. What is Webb-Fechner law and Bell-Megendy law? So Webb-Fechner law says that sensation at cortex level depends on stimulus intensity. So when you provide stimulus to any peripheral receptor, the intensity will decide how much sensation you'll be feeling. Okay, so it's directly proportional. The sensation felt at cortex is directly proportional how much intense you are having that stimulus, right? Bell-Megantilo says that the spinal cord, if we see spinal cord transaction and we see where our ascending pathway, where our descending pathway, if you remember. So the dorsal column is having the sensory tract going upward, right? And ventral column is going downward, the motor tracks, right? So the Bell-Megandy, this is according to Bell-Megandy law, that the dorsal column is related to sensory, okay, and the ventral is related to motor. Now the next question is, which of the following is rapidly adapting fibers? Now what does this adaptation mean? So rapidly adaptation and slowly adapting fibers. So if a fiber, if you are stimulating a fiber, if the sensation is felt for a very small duration and then the intensity of sensation felt decreases, you are not feeling that sensation after some time, that is rapidly adapting. And slowly adapting are basically when you, for example, you prick a pin, okay, you keep on pricking the pin and even after 10 minutes you will feel the pain. So that is slow adaptation. They are not adapting because this is according to need of body actually. So you should be knowing what are rapid adapting and slow adapting. This is most frequent rapid asked questions in entrance exams, and the options are muscle spindle, carotid sinus, pain receptors, and Pacinian corpuscles. Okay, when we talk about rapidly adapting, in these questions you will be given only the peripheral receptors. They will not be giving muscle spindle and carotid sinus. It can't be, because they are not rapidly adapting or slow adapting. Within rapid adapting and slow adapting, there will be peripheral corpuscles or nerve endings or the disc present, nerve endings in skin. Okay, so the suspected options are pain and Pacinian corpuscles. Pacinian corpuscles are for touch and vibration sensing, and pain, pain. So rapidly adapting, so the pain receptors should not be rapidly adapting. As I have given example, if pain is always some dangerous thing to us, so if it's rapidly adapting, we will not feel pain after few seconds. So that dangerous thing, we can't actually skip that thing. We can't actually remove ourselves from that area. So pain receptors are never rapidly adapting. It's slow adapting, okay? And so the answer is D, Pacinian corpuscles. And just for your knowledge, rapidly adapting fibers are Pacinian and Meissner corpuscles. Meissner for touch, Pacinian for vibration sensing. And wherever slow adapting are Merkel's disc and Ruffini's nerve ending. Okay. Okay, next question is, which of the sensory modalities transduced by free nerve ending? Okay, you have to keep a habit to understand question properly, otherwise you can have a wrong answer. So here they are asking that which sensory modality, there are 4 modalities given, okay, they have their pathways, okay, is transduced by free nerve ending. First of all, you have to see where the receptor is having free nerve ending only. Fine. Second thing is, what is this transduced mean? You should be very clear if you want to crack this exam. Transduced word mean conversion of one form of energy into another form. That is called transduction. You'll get this word everywhere in physiology, so it should be clear. Okay, so now you are getting this question that at receptor level you'll be having some free nerve ending, and that sensation is basically transduced into or converted into action potential. That action potential travels to cortex. That's the idea, right? Now options, let's see the options. So first option is vision. Okay, now try to think about it, that vision, within vision itself, which is the receptor? There are photoreceptors present at retina. There is no free nerve ending, right? Second option is smell. So within smell, we have olfactory epithelium and we have free nerve endings passing through the cribriform plate here. So cribriform plate are passed by free nerve endings. So there are free nerve ending present, which are basically transducing the smell, which is an odor, into action potential. Third is taste. So within taste, we have taste buds on tongue. Okay, so they are not free nerve ending. And sound. What is sound? Sound is basically very different thing. So receptor for sound are basically the hair cells. They are not also free nerve ending. So the answer is smell. Are you getting? So try to clear all the 4 options, even if you are sure about the correct options. Okay, next question is, which of the fiber has the greatest threshold? So in our body there are number of stimulus and we have different threshold for intensity of those stimulus. Now among these the answer is B. So the options are touch, pain, pressure and cold. Okay, so you know which sensation are basically noxious for us should be having a greatest threshold to basically clear this concept that this is something dangerous. If it have very less threshold, even at less pain will be dangerous, will be feeling dangerous, this is something dangerous and will be in panic situation. So there should be some normal intensity, the minimal intensity which is harmful to us. So the threshold for that sensation is basically greatest. So touch we are feeling very finely, very fine touch we can feel here. Pressure we can feel, right? Cold, very low intensity of cold things we can feel here. So the answer is pain. And this is kind of a protective mechanism that we have a greatest threshold of pain, because at that threshold we can feel that this pain stimulus is dangerous for us, it's noxious for us. That's why we should get rid of that pain. Okay. Okay, next question is, the gate theory of pain is proposed by Cannon and Barth, Sherrington, Wall and Melchick, Weber and Fechner. So the answer is Wall and Melchick. Okay, Cannon and Barth, they basically studied for some transaction of brain and have seen what is role of hypothalamus. Sherrington had worked for synapse, now study neurons and how they synapse, how the transmission occur. Weber and Fechner law I just discussed. So you should be able to rule out that third is the correct option. And you should be knowing here that what is gate theory of pain. Try to understand this concept that if we have pain fibers stimulated at some area, and if we stimulate other fibers related to touch, pressure. So for example, I have pain in leg and I massage or have some other pain stimulus at hand. So for some duration there are some interneurons which are supplying to that area in spinal cord. They inhibit those pain stimulation, those pain pathways. So that is gate theory of pain. So because of some other strong stimulus, the previously felt stimulus, the perception of that stimulus decreases. Okay, so that is gate theory of pain. So the answer here is Wall and Melchick. They gave gate theory of pain. Next question is, joint position sense is transmitted by. So for such questions to attempt for, you should be able to have knowledge of tracts. So the basic idea is the dorsal column meniscus, medial lemniscus pathway we have in spinal cord. If you can think of the only dorsal column which is having the sensory ascending pathways. And apart from that, you should be having knowledge of what else ascending pathways are present. So anterior spinothalamic, as name shows, spinothalamic. So from spinal cord to thalamus. So these are also ascending. Lateral spinothalamic again. So to lateral side of spinal cord, and from spino to thalamus. So they are also ascending. So there are different sensation distribution. How? So dorsal column is related to fine touch, proprioception, joint position, and various artificial synthetic sensations like stereognosis, vibrations. Okay. Anterior and lateral are basically related to crude touch, pain, temperature. Okay. So the joint position is sensed by dorsal column pathway. Okay. So the answer is C here. Okay, next question is excitation in sensory receptors. Okay, so if a stimulus is given to sensory receptor, leads to hyperpolarization of those cells. So if we have a receptor, okay, that nerve ending of that receptor is stimulated, and it lead to not excitation but hyperpolarization of that cell. In which system this is present? This is very special question. So within all senses of ours, so there are one sensation only when that is stimulated, hyperpolarization occur. So the options are auditory pathway, visual pathway, taste pathway, or gustatory pathway. We are also saying that olfactory signaling or olfactory pathway. So within olfaction, within visual sense, auditory pathway, so where we find hyperpolarization of cell, so the answer is visual pathway. Okay, so these are photoreceptors which when light is stimulated, hyperpolarization occur. When there is no light or during dark, that is depolarization occur. So these are very reverse. So answer is B. Okay, next question is light reflex is integrated in. Now to perform this question, you should be knowing what is light reflex. Otherwise, you will not be able to see where the pathways are here. Okay, so light reflex is when you shine a light on one eye, so there will be blinking of eye in same eye. That is called direct light reflex. And if you cover the midpoint with some object, if you shine in one eye, there will be blinking in other eye. That is indirect light reflex. So if you don't know what light reflex is, you can just have a basic idea that there is blinking of eye. Okay, with the help of the stimulus is light here, right? And with blink of eye, there is some motor activity in eye. Okay, and the motor activity of eye is basically governed by the third nerve. Okay, now third nerve, if you have an idea that where third nerve is situated, you can even perform this question, because where whatever stimulus is, ultimately third nerve is stimulated and there is blinking of that eye. So the third nerve is basically originating from midbrain if even you don't have the concept of light reflex. And to have concept of light reflex better, we'll be making one more video of light reflex. Coming video will be on light reflex only, and you can have a better concept there. So answer is midbrain. Okay, so next question is impedance matching is function of which part of our body? And the options are scala media, endolymph, ear ossicles and tympanic membrane, and cochlear nucleus. We know all three options except C are the part of inner ear, right? Now you should be having very clear idea if you understood ear anatomy. So there is external, middle and inner ear. External ear which collect the sound waves, and middle ear which have the ossicles, okay, and inner ear which have all the cochlea, the semicircular canals, right, and vestibule. And then obviously the nerve, vestibulocochlear nerve, right? Now impedance matching is nothing but conversion of low impedance to high impedance area. Low impedance, which is the tympanic membrane, and high impedance area, which is very small because that is oval window. So from low impedance area, which is the tympanic membrane, to basically very small window, oval window, high impedance area. So that is impedance matching. Transmission of sound from low impedance to high impedance, that is impedance matching. And obviously that work is done by the ossicles and tympanic membrane, right? So that's all for today. I hope you understood the concept. Very soon we'll come again for some more questions of nervous system. Stay tuned, stay safe. Thanks for watching.